Hello there, welcome back to Around the Grid. So, we're currently in Mexico. We are less than 20 points behind Red Bull. We still have a fairly sizable lead on Verstappen, to a point that we basically have Paris already guaranteed to be winning the championship, I dare say, at this point. And hopefully, we can do the double here before we go into next season, when we actually do have the big regulation change. As you can see, we have some research getting finished here. We did start doing research just to be on the safe side in case we ended up losing. But honestly, at this point, it doesn't really matter what we do. We're in October. We're not going to be able to really get anything done before the end of the year anyways, as we are, well, basically a month or so away from the end of the season. We have Mexico, we have Brazil, we have Las Vegas, and we have Abu Dhabi remaining. So we'll have to see how many of those we actually manage to get done today. I'd love to get all of them done, but that is probably a little bit too hopeful. And as you can see, we actually have a bunch of components that have failed, and we also have some contracts ending that we are going to have to deal with, as well as engineer and driver tension. It didn't really work out to our advantage, so yeah, we'll have to deal with that. Suspension research complete, which is good. And honestly, I think we're going to just continue doing more research. We'll be having a little bit look at what we've done. We do need to do front wing. We do need to do rear wing. Side pod's gotten a little bit. Underflow gotten a little bit. And, well, the suspension gotten a little bit. So we do have quite a lot of work ahead of us, I think. That's the best way I can describe it. We have quite a lot of work ahead of us. I think we'll just do chassis, side pods, suspension, and we'll focus these three, big ones as well. I think that's going to be the key. And again, what I want to do here is just make what is hopefully going to be... That is not a research, that's a design. I'm a silly goose. What I want to do is just create a design that hopefully will be benefiting the team next year, if you will. So I think we are, as I said, going to be able to win here. We're going to be moving over to the next team over, which in this case, let's just have a look at the standings, would be Haas. Funnily enough, that would be Haas for sure if we pull this off, because we have one with Alfa Romeo. If we pull this off, we have one with Alpha Tauri, and then we take whichever lowest rated team that we haven't won with yet. So that could, interestingly enough, be the Haas with Schumacher and Sargent. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a challenge if we stick with the same drivers. But yeah, let's just get back into this. Let's get the cars set up. And we actually don't have any extra side pods, so let's just do it like this. I think that's fine. Swap out. Looks like we are good here. Want to manufacture one more just to be on the safe side. I'm just going to double check the side pods there because there's a small upgrade. But it's an upgrade that we probably need to get on the car, so that's fine. Same here with the suspension. Let's go ahead and manufacture a new one. I do remember that we didn't have the same damage or the same failed components on both cars. So it should be fine to just do it like this. Manufacture another new one. And we don't have any more manufacturing slots, so we can't do another rear wing. I would also love to get more side pods to have spares. That's fine. Hauger's contract runs out. We have a couple of staff contracts running out, but again, not going to bother with these until the end of the season. So yeah, that is the current situation. I think we're just going to jump directly into the Mexican GP here. I don't think there's anything really stopping us from doing that. Underfloor research has been completed. Let's take a quick look at that. This is with CFD time, I would assume, because this is 10% across the board. Yeah, this is a pretty hefty upgrade. Let's be perfectly honest here. And I still think that running just a regular underfloor here is going to pay off more, just in terms of the stats for next year. Again, we are not going to see any benefits, but I would really love to just see the teams that I have kind of have had control over actually feel a bit of a challenge to us in the following season. That would be actually amazing. I'm still not 100%. By the way, as you can probably hear from my voice, I have changed the microphone settings in the sense that I now have a better way to have noise cancelling over the last month or so. I've been kind of annoyed with the amount of weird noises, clicks, everything picked up. So I think I've got NVIDIA RTX finally set up properly. But it shouldn't mess with my voice much. But at the same time, I have an incredibly stuffy nose. So if you do hear weirdness, I guess I can put it, that is probably due to the fact that... Right, we'll edit this one. That's probably due to the fact that I'm not 100% yet. And you'll probably hear a lot of coughing as well. But hopefully we can avoid that. For now though, as I said, let's jump straight into the Mexican GP. Qualifying went great. Leclerc is ahead of us, but we have Verstappen down in 10th. There are some penalties that's going to be applied here, which means that I would think we're going to be starting 2nd and 3rd. Verstappen's going to not be too far behind, but this still works out great to our advantage, so we'll definitely take this. It's also very close within the first, 5 cars here. One a little bit over a tenth. As you can see, just a few hundreds between these two, and we're a little bit further back. But yeah, it's incredibly close in terms of qualifying, which means that things are going to be fairly interesting here. Now, in terms of what we're going to be doing for strategy, the tires here, let's just take a quick look at that. The softs there are pretty good, 0.3 quicker than anything else, but with degradation being as high as it is, it's just going to last for 10-12 laps around there. Mediums, 0.5 advantage over the hards, and just 100 degradation difference means that the mediums are going to be quicker for almost 50 laps. We don't want to use hards here unless we really have to. So what I probably want to do is going to be probably something very classic that we do, which is a medium into a soft that we might run light, or in this case, probably just a soft. That's probably going to be the best bet that we can do. And we do actually have 2 fresh soft tires for this, and you can already see the kind of time that we are saving compared to the base strategy. Another thing that we could do is medium into a hard, and that too goes full attack into a soft tire, and that isn't a terrible idea either. It seems to be around the same in terms of pace. Yeah, just actually around the same. But it does require us to run the attack, this hards on full attack, and I think it's better to just use the softs. And as you can see, if we run the softs on light, we're actually going to be even quicker, which means that we can save more time by running attack before we do pit. So I do think that this is the best strategy we have available to us. As you can see, running full conserve is going to be slower, and also we're probably not going to be able to keep the tires within the temperature. So I'd recommend just doing this. We're going to do that for both cars, because again, both cars are the same set of tires. So there's no real reason to do anything super different. So that is the idea. That should work. So yeah, let's jump directly into this. And as I said, I am a little bit sniffly. I'm a little bit coughy. So I do apologize. It's just a lot of coughing in this video. Like that one. But yeah, let us go ahead and jump into the race. I did kind of forget to fix the car setups here before qualifying, but it should still be okay. Let's see how Paris does at home. If he can, get the win.
What will happen next? We're about to find out. At the Mexico City.
So yeah, we're starting 2nd and 3rd with Leclerc.
And it's lights out.
And the Red Bull is 9th, so penalties here definitely played into our favor rather than anyone else's favor. And show us had a massive start there, already ahead of the Red Bull. That's actually insane. That he won the drag race that massively, and I think Paris here might even be able to launch an attack. That is actually, again, kind of insane. We're just straight line beating the Red Bull. Are they running damaged machinery? That's the only thing I can imagine at this point, which could be the case. That would definitely benefit us massively. But yeah, show here just a beast. Started 2nd, got Leclerc on off the line. And then sets fastest lap while creating gaps here. No one out of DRS just yet, which is interesting. But at the same time, I think this is when we do take a look here at the cars of Leclerc in particular. He does have a damaged gearbox, which would kind of explain why it's slightly slower by a tenth or two. Engine isn't too great, but it's kind of in line with our engines as well. We're around 70%. But yeah, so far it's looking good. And I think we're just going to settle in here. We're going to try and have Perez get past Leclerc, of course. But I think we might need to just do one lap here where we recharge. And if we can, we'd love for show to get out of the DRS range here of Leclerc. That would actually be really good. But we'll have to see if we can actually pull that off now on this straight line. And unfortunately, it just isn't able. So We're going to go ahead and do the same with him. We're going to go ahead and recharge a little bit. It's probably going to allow Leclerc to launch an attack. But if we recharge to full within the next couple of laps here, then we'll launch an attack with DRS maybe down the main straight. Because, well, it also has effect on this DRS zone, I believe. We should be able to get away from the rest of the pack. That's going to be the goal here. Now, as that show is going to get overtaken, just nothing bad about that. It's kind of what we expected. We can put him back to neutral. Can put Perez back to neutral. And as you can see, yeah, show does not have DRS. Perez had DRS, so I assume that this zone right here goes for both of these. I don't actually remember for Mexico, which is the thing. These little squares, they kind of signify where the DRS detection point is. So this point would be for this zone. This point would be for this one. And I don't see any other detection points here, so I would assume it's for this zone too. So for show now, we're just going to deploy. And that should get him close enough here. Maybe he will be a little bit too close, honestly, and get it done a little bit too soon. Because we want him to do it on the main straight and then run away. See if he gets it done now. Looks like both cars maybe gets it done. We're kind of squeezing the Red Bull this time around. That's actually amazing. But yeah, both Show and Perez got the job done there. And we're going to have both here now try and push and get away from Leclerc. So that is looking good. For now, though, we're just going to keep this up. And we'll see where we stand once we get to that first pit window. But as you can see here, the gap has already been formed. Now it's just kind of extending and maintaining it. So it's looking very, very promising so far. We're getting increasingly closer to the pit window. And since Paris is the hometown favorite here in Mexico, we're going to allow him to pit first. And as you can see, he's going to be falling pretty far down the order here. But a lot of the back markers in particular are running soft tires. So they too will be pitting fairly soon, which could definitely work to his advantage. We've also eked out about 7.5 second gap here, with Hamilton coming in as a bit of a surprise and actually overtaking Leclerc. So yeah, Red Bull here not looking too good while we're looking great. So could be that we get a boring finish to the season, unfortunately, which would be, you know, a tad boring. Perez comes out in 14th, 2 seconds-ish up to Piastri. And honestly, again, I'm happy with that. It does allow us to, you know, get some easy overtakes. And if not that, a lot of these cars should be pitting fairly soon. They're down to 45%. So I'm fine with running a little bit slower while we get heat into the tires. As we did mention, we have a fairly significant gap advantage to begin with. And as you can see here, Show actually comes out ahead of Perez due to, well, the cold soft tires not really working too well yet. And honestly here, because of the fact that it is Perez's home race, if we can, I'm probably going to end up just giving him the win here. But yeah, cars are pitting, getting out of the way. Perez should have no problem here getting by the car in front, particularly if we give him a little bit of energy to help out with. And again, it's just because he has hotter tires. It's his home race. So I'll be a little bit lenient here and also have him get past the Aston. But the Aston get it stepped out of the way, so it's fine. For now, though, it's looking, again, just very, very dominating. We're going to allow things to kind of stay as they are. And we'll see how it looks once we get to our final pit stop. So I made a tiny mistake here because I looked away longer than I should have. And as you can see, we ran these tires a little bit further down than they were intended to be ran, which means that we're going to be double stacking here. Because we're probably going to save time on that rather than have Show run an extra lap. He's going to be stationary behind Paris for a couple seconds, but even then, the gaps that we have here are more than huge enough that it shouldn't be a problem here. Leclerc 24 seconds, Verstappen 30. We should hopefully come out ahead of Leclerc with both cars. That's going to be the hope. But yeah, I think it's going to be fine, even if we do the double stack, unless, of course, we get hit by a red flag. There's been no incidents so far. No pit stop error, good. Show is going to come out behind, though, so he did actually suffer quite a bit from that extra stop. 5 seconds slower out of the pits. So it did make it suffer a little bit, but honestly, Leclerc going to have to pit very soon. Norris, Sainz, Hamilton, no way they make it for another 20 laps. They're going to be running incredibly slow if they do. And Verstappen also has pitted here onto fresh, soft tires. So I think it's going to be fine. And again, we have given Paris a little bit of preference here. I did make a mistake in the sense that I did wait too long to pit. It happens. Sometimes you just don't pay enough attention. As you see, Russell there is flying forwards. But again, I do think that it's not going to be an issue. Once these tires come up to temperature, we're going to be back up front. No problem at all. Russell might be a little bit of a threat though, so we'll have to pay attention to him, but I think we'll be fine. Show at the moment is getting close and past Leclerc, who should be pitting at any moment. And I do think he'll have no problem chasing down Russell as well. Let's see how it looks in about 15 laps time, when we're a little bit closer to the end. So we have 5 laps to go here. Show is fighting Russell. And we have saved enough energy here for kind of allowing a fastest lap attempt. And also in Show's case, an extremely good fastest lap attempt if he, well, gives that position back within, well, this DRS. And we'll have to see if he does get re-overtaken. For Paris, though, I'm thinking that we are going to allow him to go full attack now till the end. We're going to push, we're going to deploy, and we're going to do the same here for Show. It would have been better to have DRS, of course, to get more speed. But currently it's looking incredibly good. We have Leclerc and Verstappen down in 7th and 8th. And honestly, they have worse tires than everyone ahead of them. And even Albon behind them. But Albon, 8 seconds. I don't think that's going to happen. But at the same time, it's looking very, very good. And Show has already put in a couple of good sectors, but nothing purple yet. So probably not going to get fastest lap on this run. Which means that we're probably going to have to try once again. And unfortunately, we can't pit for fastest lap. But even then, with a 1-2 versus a 7-8, that should be us basically back up to facing Red Bull. So a bit of a shame that we couldn't get fastest lap. But it is what it is. And honestly, that even then, I'm very happy with how this race has gone. It's been completely pain-free. Very, very good 1-2 so far. And as said, bit of shame that we couldn't snatch fastest lap there. I have no clue what Hamilton has set, but it's something that's quicker than a 1:16. So, yeah, that's going to be a bit interesting. Paris, on the other hand, has his final lap as it gets overtaken by the back marker. Well, back marker backs off. But Paris are getting the win at home in what's most likely going to be his championship season. And if I'm not mistaken, this might actually be the race that settles the championship. And if we get that done for Paris, it would be amazing. So we'll have a little bit of a look at the ending screens here.
Perez has crossed the line first.
But yeah, a very, very good, very calm race. 7th and 8th for the Red Bulls. No idea how they pulled that off. Norris in 6th, Albon in 9th. And we have the 2 Ferraris and Hamilton up in 4th, as well as Ocon taking that final point for the Mercs. Yeah, if Perez isn't champion here, he's probably going to be champion over at Brazil, I would think. We'll see.
That's it. Sergio Perez has secured the title this year.
Nope. Perez has secured the Drivers' Championship title. That's amazing.
No stranger to the podium, the Mexican driver now takes his place after another remarkable race.
And that's excellent, seeing both the team's drivers up there on the podium together.
A carnival atmosphere, as always, for the Mexico City Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's great. We did actually secure the Drive Championship here at Mexico for Paris. Kind of a stream scenario. A 15-7, that's actually wild. That must have been with DRS. But yeah, with this, Paris now can't get caught by Verstappen. No chance. And Show's still on 6th. How is Danny doing? He's 12th currently, so yeah. Bit of a shame that we couldn't get more out of him. We have now taken a lead in the Constructors. Really dominating that. Gained 33 points on Red Bull. And as you can see, we do have quite a few more race wins than them by 7. It's just that Rick has honestly let us down a little bit earlier in the season. And it's a bit unfortunate, but that is just how driver stats do work. So nothing we really can do about it. We also have terrible pit stops in terms of pitting time. But again, that's kind of how I ended up doing the pit stops for this because we are just planning to, jump in and then leave. That does at least kind of explain that. Fail front wing, fail underfloor shouldn't be a problem to replace either of those. Just going to do that really, really quick here. And the drivers, it's the contracts, everything shouldn't be a problem. And how we do for the manufacturing. We have manufacturing slots available. Let's get that front wing done, and then we can get the underfloor. And more importantly, the side pods manufactured. So there we are. Let's go ahead and have a look at side pods. Gonna need 2 more of these. Yeah, we'll get them done before next race. Hopefully we won't need to emergency manufacture. What I mean by next race is not Sao Paulo, but Vegas afterwards, basically. And there we are. Did we have any more manufacturing slots? No, we don't. Now with that in mind, let's just jump directly into our next race in Brazil, which also includes the sprint. But honestly, I'm not too worried. Basically, at this point, we just need to have a few more good results. Red Bull seems to be struggling at the moment, so we'll take any help we can get. I did do something silly there. I never should do 2 drivers. That is just a recipe for disaster, I feel. Like, you give the game an incentive to send one of them spiraling out of control. But yeah, let's go to Sao Paulo. We are going to have rain, which could affect us because we have cars that are bad in the rain. That's the thing. 30 air tolerance has a huge effect on your rain races because you no longer have DRS to help you out. But yeah, let's go to Sao Paulo here. Let's see how we do. And we are ready for the sprint here. We qualified 3rd and 4th, but both cars in front of us are actually going to be eating penalties. A lot of them are going to be eating penalties in terms of, well, the results here. Take a look at qualifying. Ocon, fastest car there was. Verstappen 2nd, both of them eating penalties. We qualified 3rd and 4th. Then we have Hamilton, Russell, Gasly, Tsunoda, and Alonso. And because it was wet qualifying, yeah, Leclerc, unfortunately, didn't manage to make it through to, well, Q2. He's in 16th. He's taking penalties. Verstappen's taking penalties. This is going to be an incredibly important race in the sense that if they don't make a comeback, we could kind of cement ourselves here already. But it'll depend on the sprint results for one. Verstappen is eating a penalty, that is for sure. And honestly, with that in mind, we don't really need to take any risks here. We just need to make sure that we, end this sprint 3rd and 4th. I'd be happy with ending this sprint where we started in 3rd and 4th. That's going to be more than enough for us to challenge for this Constructors title. So while it's a boring strategy, it's, not something that we need to really mess with. We can just take it a little bit slower here, play a little bit safer, take advantage of the fact that we have a faster car, and kind of settle in a little bit behind here because, well, they're going to have a hard time overtaking us anyways. So with that in mind, I think what we're going to do is, as I said, play it a little bit slow. Settle in, allow ourselves to kind of run 3rd and 4th as much as possible. And if we can get Verstappen and Ocon by the end of this, great. If we can't, we're still going to be fine. They're going to be eating penalties. And we'll get them in the, the race itself, which gives way more points than this. And with Leclerc down in 16th still, and he's going to be eating penalties, I don't see him scoring any points for the sprint, and probably not any points for the race either, unless something big happens. So we just need to make sure that we survive the sprint, and then we have a good starting point for the race tomorrow. So we'll settle in where we are. We'll try and, of course, get Verstappen and get Ocon, but it's not going to be a huge priority for me. If we can, we're just going to settle in where we are. Going to give Show a little bit extra push here with energy so that he can actually connect to Paris and have DRS to him, because I don't want to put us at risk to Russell, but at the same time, I'm not going to be doing too much here on the attacking front. We'll have to see how this goes, but honestly, I think we have an incredibly good chance there to kind of clinch the championship somewhat in this race weekend. So far, the sprint has gone really, really well. Perez and Show, both of them are in position 35 Verstappen. We have not really saved any tire, but we have saved fuel, and we have saved energy. And with 3 laps to go, with this being, I believe, the 2nd lap, basically we're about to start. And next to last lap, Show getting a little bit of an attack on him. But yeah, we're about to basically say 2 laps to go. Let's go full attack. This is when we start to try and make some differences count. And in this case, we want to get Perez away from Verstappen. And we also want to get Show ahead of the Mercedes and into a position where he can start chasing down Verstappen if Perez can give him the slip. So yeah, we have 1 more lap to go. Perez is almost giving him the slip. He's going to have DRS. But Show actually did get the overtake done even so. And I'm pretty sure this is a 1-2 in the sprint. Leclerc is up to 13, but that will not matter. And yeah, I don't think we needed to be as careful as we were in terms of the fact that we could have attacked earlier. But even with that in mind, we have done a fairly good job. And what I'm very interested in here is if Ocon is going to be pipping Verstappen towards the end here. And he is. Can Verstappen come back though towards the line? No. Ocon got 3rd. Verstappen down in 4th. Red Bull in absolute shambles. I can be very happy with that. I think. But yeah, that does put us even further ahead of Red Bull here. We scored 15 points. They scored 5. That's another 10. And as I said, Verstappen is eating penalties. Ocon's eating penalties. Leclerc is eating penalties. So this is going to be a very, very interesting... Very interesting rain. Very interesting race, but we're actually going to be seeing some rain as well. So let's see what we can expect. So lap 21, 22. That's probably when we're going to have to jump onto the inters. And I think we're going to do 2 sets of inters here with just the length that it is. We'll have to see. Could run a standard soft tire. How is actually the tire differences looking here? About 3/10 almost. So 15 or so laps. We could run a standard soft, unless we can. I don't think we can push the medium that far, can we? Yeah, no way we're pushing the medium that far. The hard tire would be viable to push, but at the same time, do we want to? Probably not. What I think we do here is just play it very, very safe. And what I mean by that is we start on the soft tire. The soft tire 2 is kind of a risk. We start on the medium, push it a little bit, turn it to neutral. Or we go all in and do 2 soft stints before the rain. I think the best bet here is to run medium and then just turn it standard after the first couple of laps, or basically when we have a little bit of gap formed. Because we do have a Ferrari right behind us, and that Ferrari isn't a huge threat. And again, we just want to have reliability here, so rather than gambling on a strategy, we don't need to here. We can just run the medium, run a little bit more careful, and just deal with the Red Bulls as they catch up. And I think that's going to be the play here. So with that in mind, let's just jump into the race.
We're not too... And now, it's time for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
So where exactly is the Red Bull? There, and
it's lights out, and away we go.
Okay, so Leclerc didn't actually get punished. Verstappen got a very light slap on the wrist. Shoei is losing to Russell, which is not amazing, but he does start with lower confidence, so it does make sense from that perspective. But even then, I think this is still an acceptable start to the race. We do have 2 Mercedes as kind of a shield. What's not acceptable is Albon getting involved in this.
2 cars out.
Yellow flag, 2 cars out too. It's not the best news ever.
Should be able to take a look here. And if we watch Magnussen,
What happened to Magnussen?
barely any room to maneuver. And the impact on the car...
Yeah, just slight touch there. That did seem a little bit worse than anticipated. But yeah, Show not having a great start to the race here. But again, we're just going to be playing it a little bit careful here, a little bit safe, rather than running full attack. Because we're going to kind of have to save it for the rainy weather. There's just no way around that. So we need to keep these tires light. We don't have the best prediction. Rain could come around lap 25, could come around lap 15. We'll just have to see around lap 10 what we're actually looking at. So for now, we're kind of okay with where we are. We're not completely happy, mind you, but it could be worse. So we'll settle in and we'll wait for when rain actually arrives to make a decision. Never mind, we might have been forced to make an earlier decision than anticipated, with Show being hit, or Show hitting someone, we'll have to see. Russell in 3rd, Show in 4th. Did we have a lockup? Nope. That was an... That was an interesting situation considering Russell hit Albon, which made him slow down, and then he hit Show. Did we actually suffer any damage? No, we did suffer a lot, an insane loss of confidence. But yeah, we didn't really suffer anything in terms of tires, didn't suffer anything in terms of anything else. It's just that we've been bumped down to 9th, so lost of position, also maybe a little bit of pride, but it's fine. And Russell did eat a penalty, so that, including Albon's rear wing damage, plays into Verstappen's hands. Suddenly the Red Bulls are back in it. Yeah, Albon, I would assume he's actually pitting to just retire. Nope, he's actually switching tires. Okay. We'll have to see how that rear wing, though, ends up treating him, because that's not a good thing. But at the same time, we can be very, very happy that we weren't the car to get, you know, deleted. Now, with this in mind, though, we are going to have to do a little bit of finagling, working around this for, in particular, our driver Show. And as you can see, the rain is pushing further and further back. It was supposed to come around 21. It's been pushed by 2 laps. It could get pushed back further, so we do have to take care of these tires in case we end up in a situation where, well, we won't have a choice other than to just deal with it. And Leclerc now going involved as well, and shows confidence, taking a little bit of a nosedive. But we have saved energy, and I do believe that Show will be able to just retake that position on the straight. We are going to be pushing fuel probably down to about 3 kilograms due to the fact that you'll get a lot of your fuel back during the rainy part of the race. We've had another incident, and this time I don't think it was Show that was involved. I think Verstappen might have been involved, and he was. The Alpine getting the overtake done, Verstappen having a slight touch there. But while he lost a few positions, that shouldn't really be anything that causes any major damage. It's just if he's, well, the Alpine or him is going to be picking up a penalty. That did help us out a little bit, I'll be honest, and it gave Paris here an even larger gap. So incident involving them, I'll see what no penalties, so they're both safe here. Let's see what actually happens on lap time. So yeah, that gave Paris about 3 seconds worth of space, so that was good. And Show here now is getting close to a potential attack again, due to the fact that Sainz and Hamilton, the DRS trains are loosing a little bit. So I'd like to move Show up a little bit here before we do, you know, pit for rain. But it's probably going to be a little bit of a difficult job around here. So we'll have to do a little bit of harvesting, work a little bit around it. But it would be great if we could move him up a few more places before the rain arrives. We are getting closer though. And if we take a look here now, it's moved back to lap 26. So definitely a good idea here that we did mediums instead of anything else. And we do still need to take good care of these tires to last until the rainy period. So yeah, we do have a little bit of work ahead of us. And I did leave Show there on recharge for a little bit too long, which kind of lost us the gap there to Sainz. It's kind of a double-edged sword around these spots. Sonoda with a bit of a pit stop issue. But yeah, Paris looking good. Sonoda should be fine. We'll do our best here. But it is a little bit troublesome. Ocon needing to pit. I don't know why, but we could see someone else pit too before the rain arrives. The AI can be a little bit weird about that. Let's see how this goes. Apparently Verstappen has had yet another incident, a crash on turn 4. He's still running, but I don't know if he's actually suffered any major damage. That is back tire and maybe even rear wing. Yeah, he's gonna pit now because the rain is supposed to come at 27. He might stay out, but that would be, I would assume, at least suspension damage. And again, that's huge for us. So the Red Bulls had kind of taken themselves out of the fight, but with that little touch he had over there, his confidence probably suffered massively. And as a result, now he is kind of getting into trouble. 28 now. The rain is moving further and further away. So yeah, a little bit of a problem. Paris though, huge gap to the front. And I would really love it for Show to be able to launch an attack and get ahead of these guys. But even then, we're gonna have to make up some time to really make it matter, which is kind of gonna be weird, if you will. But we should be able to attack Hamilton here. Hamilton dropped out of DRS for a second. And that should give us Hamilton's position. But he's gonna get it back there with the other DRS, so It's a bit of a weird one. It's basically, do we want to save energy for when the rain arrives to get overtakes done, or do we want to try and get as many positions now as we can?
Copy.
It's a rough choice, but I think at the moment we should just stay where we are. Maybe. Let's see if Show gets this overtake done. Should get it done. Maybe not. Hamilton on hard tires, so he kind of does have a little bit of an advantage at the moment. There we go. Overtake is done. The question is just, do we gamble on pitting on this next lap? The rain is going to go up fairly quick. So, is it going to be worth it for Show to pit early? That's going to be it, because lap times there are 1:11 or so. I don't think it's going to be worth it, is the thing.
Tire status okay to run?
Let's see. 1 minute. Pit stops take how long? 22 seconds. It'll be 30 seconds until we're out. I think it's just go full attack for one more lap here, honestly. I don't think there's anything else in it for us other than that. Just go full attack, use up the rest of your tire, and then pit. And for Paris here, I think it's actually just stay out for one more lap. No. Probably not. It's 12 seconds. Even if we do make the wrong choice here, it doesn't really matter. But I'd still like to get him in early. So let's just go ahead and do that. And we're going to get Show in here too now, because it is going to start raining. And I would assume that it's going to start going up fairly quick. I'm also going to turn him down to standard. And as you can see, it is going up fairly quick. But as you can see, he almost made a full lap here before the rain actually arrived proper. And so far, we're the only ones that actually ended up pitting alongside Gio. And Paris is down in 11th, which is fine, honestly. We're going to tune this down to balanced. We're going to also tune this to light and just take it a little bit softer here while it's still getting up to up to the correct weather level, if you will. But yeah, so far everyone is going to have to go pit now. Paris is going to just fly by. We'll have to see where exactly Show comes out. Leclerc's done a massive jump, but at the same time, so has Show up into third now. And with the double stacks, there are some gaps forming. So we're definitely making a comeback. Verstappen in 6th, Leclerc in 2nd. So maybe this isn't as one and done for as I suspected. And I do want to see it now. Is it better for us to go with another interstate? This is kind of the thing, though. The game doesn't really give you a good calculation on what is faster or not in terms of strategies, because it's kind of bad at calculating it. This would be 3 seconds slower. Okay. I think it's just better to just stay on the same tire, run them light or standard, depending on how much tire we're losing, the temps. These can go up to 105 degrees though, so we're going to run them standard. We're going to do the same here. And I think that's going to be the best for us here. Like, honestly, if Leclerc finished 2nd, Show 3rd, I'm happy with that. Of course, we'd love for Show to get ahead of him, but we'll have to see what we can do here. And we might just end up settling in behind while taking care of the tires, because right now we're running slightly slower than Leclerc. We'll have to see how it looks in a few laps time. So we just ended up playing it safe here, and as you can see, it did work out decently well for us. We still have Paris in 1st. Show has been losing out to Leclerc, which is understandable. But Sainz has been running so close to us that he has basically destroyed his tires doing that, and Alonso is now the bigger threat. So for Show, it's just run full attack, push till the end at this point, honestly, because Alonso is going to be a bit of a threat to us. And honestly, even if we started pushing earlier, I don't think we would have been able to close Leclerc down. But this is still going to be a huge win for us. Don't get me wrong. It's a shame that Leclerc did manage to do a comeback here. A massive one at that. But it's not something that is going to, negatively affect us. Not really. If we have a really bad Vegas or really bad Abu Dhabi, then this might come back and bite us in the ass. But we have already gotten 10 points from the sprint. And now we're going to get even more from the race itself. So this has been a very good weekend, even if we didn't do a 1-2. And if we did get Leclerc in the middle here. Both Leclerc and Verstappen has new components though. So they're going to be a little bit more dangerous for the last couple of races. So we're going to have to make some decisions regarding that. But nothing really that's going to be a problem, I think. But yeah. Leclerc and Alonso both making up 10 positions. Norris 9. Verstappen just a single one. So yeah, it's still good. 7 points gained between these two. And between these two, another 7. So 24 points over the course of the race weekend. That's something we can be happy about, honestly. That's something we can be very, very happy about. We now basically have almost a race weekend here in safety. We have 40 points. I believe 43, 44 is the maximum you can score, unless my math is off. 25 plus 18 plus 1, 44. So yeah, we basically have a, a complete race weekend safety. And we could actually end up kind of winning this going into the next, the next year here. Next year? The next race after Las Vegas. We might actually decide the other championship here in Las Vegas, which would be amazing. New ATR period. CFD sim concerns. Okay, we'll approve. Car inspection results. Everything has passed. And the engine that we have is going to be able to survive till the end of the season, I'm pretty sure. So it is looking very, very good. Now, the ATR period, I think we are going to be putting in the rear wing for these guys. I think that would be fun. Excuse me. And the floor has been manufactured. And as I said, we're going to get both suspensions ready for the United States GP. Apparently we're lacking a rear wing, so let's go ahead and get that manufactured. And apparently we got some other big news here. So the car development report, honestly, I'm fine with it. Our car is doing what we wanted to do, so I'm not concerned. CFD sim, no sign of structural damage, so good. Nothing to be worried about. Driver developments, smoothness, and reactions, as well as control. So drivers are still improving. That's massively good. And in terms of our pit crew here, we are still going to try and give them a little bit of training. Not going to bother too much on the pit stop times themselves, but it would be good to keep some of the other stats kind of running still. So that is what we'll go with. They're still going to be well rested though, so that is good. I think this is fine though, honestly. And we'll go ahead and set up the rest after Abu Dhabi. But yeah, looks like at this point, unless we have a double DNF ×2, we should be able to secure the championship. Both of them. So we can be very happy with just basically, I don't think it really is doing super well, in my honest opinion. I think it's more so that Red Bull just had a little bit of a collapse due to both lack of components. They have been eating penalties, but also they just had a few unlucky results that have definitely, screwed them over a little bit. So I'm pretty sure it's a combination of both, in my honest opinion. But yeah, I want to see if I can make this into a speed monster next season, and as I can already see by investing the CFD time here. Remember, this team finished last season, so we have a ton of CFD that we can invest into research, which actually makes them kind of scary. Which you can actually, which means you can turn them into a really, really scary team come next year. And you can kind of see it here, 20% on DRS, almost a full KPH and top speed, and still a decent chunk of the other stats here. Could of course also turn this up if we wanted to, but yeah, I'm liking those stats a lot more. And keep in mind, these are the base stats increases, so that's going to be massive. Now, do I want to speed things up? No, we're not going to really be able to sneak anything in here in terms of time after this, but I'm fine with it. I honestly am. So let's go ahead and get that rear wing research underway. And as I said, that's going to be a monster rear wing next year. Sidebots have been manufactured, but for now, let's just jump directly into Las Vegas. Let's see if we can end the season on a high here, or if we're going to have a little bit of jitters, and we are going to have to decide the season, not the race, at Abu Dhabi instead. Let's head to Vegas, which is going to be a cold one. So remember how I said that unless we stumble, we should be fine? We stumbled. And we stumbled hard. So we've been struggling here. The first Q1, 2 rounds. Both of them around 34 mark. As you can see, nothing good. Slightly better here in Q2, but still nothing to write home about. We are incredibly slow around this track. luckily for us, Verstappen is taking another penalty, but we are just incredibly slow. Like, that's not something that I like to see, and it does leave me a little bit worried, because I can't understand why we're slow, except for the fact that the track maybe is cold. So maybe I should take a manual control. That might have, elicited better results. But yeah, that's a concern. That's a concern. We're starting 12th and 8th, so we still have some options here. But even then, it is not good. Verstappen top, Alonso, Bottas, Leclerc. So yeah, as you can see, this could be potentially a little bit of a problematic venture. Now, two stopping around here is generally not, recommended, if you will. I don't think we have much of a choice, is what I'm thinking. We are starting fairly far back, so we could make this work. Let's take a quick look at what the tires are looking like. So 2 times between soft to medium. We don't really want to use the soft state. They only hold advantage for less than 10 laps. 6, 7, 8 laps. That's the advantage. Don't use them. 15 for medium to hard. So we actually want to use more hards here if we can. What do we have available to us? That's going to be big. Well, a medium and a hard. That's not going to help. Medium and a hard. That's not going to help. So the only thing we really can do is this. Running full attack. Because even if we do this, still not going to be great. But I do have a little bit of an idea here. What if we run the hard full attack? And we run the medium conserve or light? We should be able to keep it within temperature, that's the thing. It would be a very ballsy strategy to do things like this, I feel. But I think the best option that we have is to just burn both of these tires. And even then, it's going to be fairly close. I think we're going to have a way better race at Abu Dhabi anyways. But yeah, I think this is the best option that we have. Given the circumstances, we can't run light around this place just due to the fact that the track is so cold. And that's probably also what ended up having a negative effect during quali. Probably should have done it manually. But I thought we just had a couple of bad runs in Q1. Turned out that wasn't the case. Again, I just think this is the best bet. I don't really recommend 2 stopping, but I think we kind of have to. Because we have to try and make it places. And getting in early on the mediums is going to allow us to do that. So yeah. Let's gamble. Let's see if we can make it places. It might just be that my builds here, car builds, are slow. But we shall see. Okay, where is the other Red Bull? That's us. And where is Verstappen? 3rd. Okay, so he barely got inconvenienced by that quote-unquote punishment. But both of our cars here had pretty good starts, considering we started 8 and 12. Show that with 2 positions immediately. Paris fighting with Gasly. But even then, this is promising. This is promising in the sense that we are getting confidence build-up very, very early. And in terms of tires here, Verstappen is on softs, but most of them are on mediums. So we should be able to pit and then come out a little bit more towards the back. That's going to be the key. And then work our way forwards. But even then, I don't know if this is going to really work out. It is a gamble. But we do have the points available to us to do this gamble. That's the thing. As long as we score 4 points there, we are at worst equal come Abu Dhabi. Hopefully, of course, we'll do better, but you can kind of see it already here. Paris is getting left behind. Our car is just incredibly slow around this track. So, yeah, we do have some work. Safety car. Leclerc? Nope. Who is the safety car creator?
Yes,
Stroll.
We've had a crash. What happened there? Right, we're at turn 14 here. And ends up making contact with the barrier.
That's an incredibly weird crash. That's the best way I can describe that. That is an incredibly weird crash. Red flagged, of course.
And keep following the reference.
Cars are parked on the track.
So yeah, keep working on your brake temperature.
I think the strategy here is going to be similarly enough. Just run the same tires. Honestly, just stick with the strategy. I think that's the best we can do. It's so early in the race. We've lost about 10% of these tires, yes, but at the same time, it's either this or jump directly onto the hard tires, which I assume most of the AI drivers are actually going to end up doing here.
We're set once more.
Yeah,
And soon we'll
they did.
continue this race.
So many hard runners.
And it's lights
So
out.
what I'm thinking is that by us just going straight up attack and, well, pitting early, we should be able to jump some of these hard runners. That's going to be the hope, at least. And for show here, getting overtaken by Sainz, that's too good, but at the same time, not much we can do with it. Sainz 2 did the same thing that we're doing. Magnussen also getting a move on. But yeah, the car just doesn't work around this place, I feel. I'm pretty sure that we did switch to proper components. We did, so that's not the problem. But yeah, we're going to have a little bit of work ahead of us here. So we'll do our best until we get to that first pit stop. And hopefully we can make up some places with our two-stop strategy. We'll have to see, though, because we're probably going to end up pushing these mediums a little bit further into the ground than the strategy kind of intends to. But with everyone jumping onto hards there, with the exception of a few others, I think it should be fine. So we'll do our best. Let's see how this looks once we get a little bit further into the race towards our first pit stop. Although at the moment we do need to save up a little bit of ERS. So let's see how this works out. So we're getting increasingly closer to the pit stop, and what I am thinking is that we're going to be pitting Paris first, or Show first actually, because he's lower tire. So we're going to get him in on this lap. It's going to be about 8 tenths quicker. He's going to be coming out towards the back of the grid. There's just no question about it. But there should be enough room here that he should hopefully be able to make up the time. That's going to be the hope, at least. We'll have to see if it actually does play out that way. And we're going to get Paris in on this next lap here, with Schumacher now setting fastest lap. Kind of telling you what we are looking at. But yeah, Show out in 19th there. 5-second stop time, a little bit of pit stop issue. But we'll have to see if the lap times now are going to be good enough that it kind of validates this strategy. That's the whole point here. Paris now, bit better stop, comes out behind Gio. Still loses out a little bit though. In terms of lap times, 39s is what they're running. Let's see now what Show is running. It is personal best. It's yellow sector 2. It is fastest lap. But yeah, still not amazing. But at least good enough, I would argue at this point. And currently Paris is kind of holding him up. But we'll kind of end up in a situation here where they're going to DRS off each other. And we're going to have to make things happen. Verstappen is running as fast as us right now. So that is also worrisome in its own right. But we'll have to just try and make the best that we can out of this. And of course move the cars forwards when we can. Getting past Gio here quickly and painlessly is going to be important. And I do think that we are quick enough that it shouldn't be a problem. Use a little bit extra deploy. Should make it into a non-problem. Of course, if our drivers compete, that's going to be a little bit more of an issue. But yeah, we should have no problem getting past Gio. But at the same time, I feel like this is a track that the player is... have a bit of a disadvantage on. But that could just be me, let's be honest. Because even this, like, look like this. We are struggling to get past the Williams to some degree. And that is not a good look. A car that is generally very, very dominant. But yeah, let's see if we can move ourselves forwards here. Once we get to what hopefully will be our final pit stop. So the rest of the grid has started pitting. You can see Verstappen here is out ahead of us in 5th. We have Kepler Club behind us for a little bit. But it's not looking good. That's the best way I can describe the current situation. Sargent, Piastri, they're going to need to pit. Hamilton, Russell, going to need to pit. Actually, a lot of the cars that are going to need to pit, but at the same time, it's not looking very, very good for us. Verstappen has pitted. He's going to come out ahead of most of these guys. So, the only thing I can think at this point is that we do jump early here and get onto the soft tire. We're going to allow Paris to actually get on in quicker, because Paris has been doing better, generally. So, Show's going to suffer for 2 laps here on these hards. Paris is going to get in at the end of this one, so you can hopefully try and jump some of the other cars in this line up to Alonso. But even then, it's not looking good. It's really, really not looking good at all. So yeah, we'll have to see how this ends up playing out towards the end of the race here. And I do need to kind of slow down here now, just so I don't have Paris completely destroying these tires. We'll allow him to get them up to temperature, running attack. But once the temperature up to temperature, we're gonna have to slow him down. Honestly, we might just need to do it now. But temperature is going up rather quickly. That is what we like to see. There we go, tune him down to standard. And we can do the same here for show, just to try and help him. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens here with everyone running very, very damaged, if you will, tires. And Paris gaining a few seconds on show just shows you the difference between the new and the old. But yeah, this has been a complete disaster of a race weekend. I can't really explain why we are seconds slower than everyone else, because we are running components that are decent. We haven't replaced any of our parts with something that should be this slow. So I guess it's just the top speed. The top speed that is enough lacking for us, so we lose about a second a lap. And that is horrifying to think about. Yeah. Curious what's going to happen with these guys. We are running, I would assume, laps that are going to be quicker than them, starting with 38th there. So I guess as long as they're running a DRS train, they're not going to care much. But yeah, 37.4, 37.6 on fresh softs versus Verstappen versus Alonso. And as you can see, they're seconds quicker. So it is concerning, but we'll just have to try and make the best out of this. And I'm wondering when the rest of these guys are going to pit. Sargent, for instance, is running his tires into the ground. So Ocon, Magnussen, if either of these guys do actually go down to have a puncture, it's going to benefit us greatly, so I would really appreciate it. But at the same time, it is kind of questionable. Sargent finally does pit. And we are getting back up to the back of the grid here. So if we take a look here, who are going to have to pit within the next 12 laps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That just barely gets us back up into the point. So we are going to have to get some overtakes done on track as well. And that's going to be the difficult part here, I think. And that does include us getting Ocon as well. Piastri there, puncture. First one, I don't know if he actually crashed, but it doesn't look like it. So you can imagine, I think the red flag did mess up the AI a little bit in terms of strategic choices here. I think we'll be seeing a lot more punctures. I think we're also going to take the opportunity now to just do a little bit of recharging here, particularly for Paris, who has caught up to the rest of the grid here. 10 laps to go. We can't really run too much aggressive here. We're actually going to have to run a little bit conserved to save a little bit of fuel, because it is on the negative side. But yeah, the tires here are probably going to end up saving us. That's the worst part. It's kind of weird saying that is the worst part. Hamilton into the pits, but it is also through. Like the tires here, Ocon has punctured. He was running podium. So yeah, definitely does benefit us massively. Although show that did lose a lot of time, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, if it continues like this, we are definitely getting back up into the points, which is good in its own right. But at the same time, it's not really, we really didn't deserve anything from this race. Could be that the car just doesn't work. Could be that just, you know, it's a bad design. Paris now up into 11th. Very important. As I said, as long as we score 4 points from this race, we can actually, we can actually go home somewhat happy, because we've averted the worst case. But at the same time, it leaves Abu Dhabi incredibly open. Leclerc's currently running 5th. And no one ahead of him is going to have a puncture. Magnussen is going to have a puncture before the end of this. Gasly's going to be slow. Perez gets Russell there, who's also slow. Magnussen actually opts to pit now, which should mean that we jump in with both cars. And we can probably run aggressive starting next lap, which is going to give us a little bit of extra speed, but nothing too major. At the same time, we're going to have one more freebie here in Gasly. And we'll have to see if we can get Sainz too, maybe. Because it's a very, very weird scenario currently that I'm seeing here. And if Verstappen isn't careful, he might actually burn his tires down too. So yeah, it's a weird world we live in right now. That's the best way I can describe it. And there we go. Russell has had a puncture as well. Show gets the overtake done. And he's now right behind Schumacher and Albon. And that should allow him now to just launch an attack on Schumacher and then get Albon also in short order. We'll have to see if Perez can actually get enough pace going to catch up to Gasly and Sainz. But yeah, 3 laps to go, 21%. Gasly should not survive the end of this, I don't think. And I do want to play it safe here, so we're not gonna tell Show to go aggressive for just 2 points. It just is not worth it. Paris gets the job done on Gasly, which is kind of what we expected. But the DRS train here is leaving Show quite exposed. That's the best way I can actually describe it. 3 laps to go. Magnussen sets fastest lap. So yeah, it's a weird race, this. I don't know what is actually happening, but our car is not doing anything around this track. Not anything at all. Like, we're struggling to overtake Schumacher. Paris does get Sainz though, so at least we can take that with us. And honestly, at this point, we just go full attack. And try and make the best out of this. Even though if the best isn't really anything, you know, major. Leclerc in 6th is a boon for us, because that means we'll still go into Abu Dhabi with a little bit of a headway. But yeah, this is worrisome. This is worrisome indeed. And last lap has begun for Verstappen. Hasn't begun for us yet. But in that same vein, we're going to go push. And I'm going to allow deploy, I think. Sure, we're just going to deploy and push in order to make sure that we stay ahead of the cars behind. And for Paris now, we're just going to deploy, push everything that we have until the end of this race. Just need to keep a little bit of eye here on our fuel. Would be very embarrassing if we ran out before the line. But yeah, as I said, the car just hasn't worked around here. That is the best way I can describe our current situation. It just hasn't done anything that we wanted it to. And Paris did manage to get 7th. We managed to get 9th. So, damage limitations, honestly, probably should have taken penalties here. But at the same time, yeah, just nothing worked around here. Like, we've been dominating quali. Well, not really dominating, but we've been top of quali for everywhere else. We come here, and then we suddenly get put a second slower than the top car. That's amazing. But yeah, Verstappen wins. Leclerc in 6th. Then we have Alonso, Norris, Tsunoda, and Bottas. Bottas here with 15 places up. That's amazing. We did end up scoring 8 points, so Red Bull gained 25 on us. And even this is still going to leave Paris firmly at the top. And we now have a 15-point advantage going into the final race. So as long as we win the race, we win the title. And I'm sorry to say, this isn't actually fabricated drama or anything like that. We can actually have a look at it once we get out of here. We lost all of our performance guarantees too. But I just want to have to double check it if I've somehow put on the wrong car part or something has failed on both cars, because that doesn't make much sense to me. Okay, let's just replace everything here. And then we'll take a look here at what we are actually looking at here. So we have the correct chassis. We have the correct front wing. We have the correct rear wing, which honestly we might as well manufacture a couple for, because we're going into the final race. Well, just one would have been enough. That's all we really have time for. Correct side pods, correct underfloor. Yeah, it's just the car being absolutely useless. Yep. Car's being useless. You can see here the powertrain components aren't even very worn. So just an incredibly bad race weekend from us altogether. Which, as you can see, everyone can have them. But yeah, that is slightly disappointing, honestly. For now, though, we are going to go ahead here and do another research. Chassis, I believe we want to do side pods next. And we just kind of work our way through the order, if you will. Like so, should be decent enough. And we have another one in 3 days, which will be after Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But we're actually going to have the final race of the season be an important one. And we can't get any qualifying streaks here. Excuse me, because it is the last race of the season. So that's fine. But as long as we have a couple of good placements here, honestly, we should have a couple of good placements here. We'll be fine. This is I've always struggled with Las Vegas in this game. It just doesn't work well with me, and even the car gave up there. But these are better attempts that we can actually work with. So yeah, let's jump into Abu Dhabi. Season finisher, 15 points out of Red Bull. Let's see if we can keep that lead after this race too. Let's go. Qualifying is done, and we do have a little bit of work ahead of us here. Leclerc is eating a penalty. That's going to make life a little bit easier. Perez starts right behind Verstappen, and Bottas starts front as well. So, not too shabby here. Remember, we have 15 points to go on, which means pressure is all on Red Bull. So I think we can be happy with this. We also saved probably a little bit more than we need to in terms of soft tires. We have 3 sets for each driver. Probably should, use a little bit more. But at the same time, I think this is going to be worth it around this track because that allows us to do the usual shenanigans by running light softs. And I do still think that's going to be the best thing that we can do around here in order to speed up our lap times a little bit. And as you can see, there's not much to be gained by doing this, about 5 seconds. But it's still going to be quicker than base strategies here. Just barely, though, that's the thing. Hard tires might be the key here, or just not running the mediums on attack at all. Well, running them on attack might be the key here, but we might also get in a hard set here on attack, or... What would be a good idea here? Because this is fairly doable. It's 5 seconds slower. The soft strategy here, as you can see, is actually good enough. Just 2 seconds faster, actually. So, could be that running something like this is viable. As you can see, you don't really get much from running the mediums at attack. So, I'm wondering what would be the good idea to do here. This might actually be the best option available to us. But again, it's just that I do like to push on the first stint. Create some gaps. Okay, I think I figured out what we're going to do. We're going to do something a little bit silly. We're going to run the hard on attack. We're going to go over to the medium. We're going to run the medium somewhat standard. And then we're going to go over to the soft at the end. Now, the reasoning is going to be incredibly simple. We are going to go push hard like we usually do. On the hard tire, we're going to run the medium standard because honestly, running them aggressive isn't going to really save us anything. We can even run them on conserve so we have more soft to use, which honestly wouldn't be a terrible idea. So... this is probably what we're going to do. It's going to be very close to what everyone else is doing as well. But the alternative is, again, just running something like this with a conserve soft. But conserve doesn't really work out very well here because I don't think we're going to have temp in the tires. And that's a bit of a concern. If you don't have temp in the tires, can't really run conserve, which forces us to run light. And we can't keep the tires alive on light. So... well, this is technically quicker. This is far more reliable, and we can run the mediums attack aggressive towards the end of the lifetime. So we're gonna gamble on that. It's gonna be a bit of a big gamble, but it's, again, I think it's a gamble that's gonna be worth it because it's gonna be quicker than what the numbers actually say, due to the fact that we do have medium available to us that we have yet to use. So that does play into, again, the strategic choice on how we play this. So yeah, we're gonna go with this. Bit of a risk, but it's a risk that I think is gonna pay off. So let's go. Excuse me there. So yeah, last race of the season. Decent start here in terms of confidence. Wish we had a little bit more here for show. His arguments with his race engineers definitely not helped him the last few races here. But we are gonna need an amazing one here if we are to come out ahead and win the championship. We have won the drivers. Constructors up for grabs. 15 points lead. Can we stave off the Verstappen?
And it's lights out, and away we go.
Okay. Looks like we had a decent start at least. Show already finding a place up against the Ferrari on hard tires versus medium, which is good to see.
Okay, copy.
Verstappen, though, getting Bottas is not what we'd like to see. Leclerc in 9th. Remember, as long as we finish, well, if they finish 1-2 with fastest lap, that would be 44 points. And if we finish 3rd and 4th, we'd still be a few points short. Or do we actually win it by... yeah, we'd still be a few points short. So we need a 2nd place here, honestly. Or we need to have Leclerc finish behind us. Having both Red Bulls finish ahead of us is most likely not going to be acceptable for this one. But honestly, so far we've had a good start. Verstappen can't win this alone. He's going to need help from Leclerc. So it's still looking incredibly good for us. We are going to be pushing on this first stint. We're going to go all in, and we're going to go in the medium. And we'll have to see how that medium stint does work out. But yeah, everyone on the mediums or the softs here, we're the only hard runners. Going to be interested to see how this works out. But as you can see, Verstappen already creating a bit of a gap. But as he slows down, we should be able to close that gap down. So I'm not necessarily concerned at this moment. But we'll have to see. We have probably used a little bit too much here of our energy. But we should be able to recharge over the next few laps here. So what I'm thinking is that we're going to sit back. We're going to wait for that first pit stop. We can run these tires up to 130 degrees. So we're still fine. And if Sainz wants to play, you know, the pulley for us here, I'm all for it. Let's see how we look once we get closer to that first pit stop of ours. Never mind. We've immediately had a... Second I said that, we had an incident with Verstappen. I believe he has had a spin. Nope, he ran wide and parked. That is very unfortunate. And very sad. That makes this race incredibly boring. I was looking forward to some excitement, then Verstappen just drives off the road. Let's be honest here. Verstappen, you could argue that the pressure might get to him. But I don't think the pressure would have gotten that bad to Verstappen. He would have been back on track. But that does leave us here with a bit of an interesting situation on a different in a different way. But yeah, Perez, Bottas running together, showing third. We haven't seen much from Leclerc. He's currently running 8th, but we got just double overtaken there. That looked a little bit scary. But honestly, yeah, we're just going to speed along in now till the first pit stop. Bit of anticlimactic here with Verstappen having that incident. But we still needed Leclerc to have an amazing race for them to beat us, so... Bit unfortunate, but that is racing. We might have a crash, which would make things, you know, spicy again. But hopefully we can avoid that. For now, though, we're just going to speed along until we get to that first pit stop. There is enough of a gap between Show and Paris here that we're just going to go ahead and double stack. I think that should be fine. We're going to go ahead and turn Paris down to light here now. And we're going to do the same for Show. Verstappen still towards the back. Leclerc pits alongside us. And with Paris having a good stop, with Show having a good stop, we actually have both cars out ahead of him. So that is good. Paris comes out in a bit of DRS train, same can be said for Show. But once we get these tires up to temp, we should be fine, honestly. And with Leclerc behind us on this first stop, I think we have nothing really to be worried about. Worst case scenario here, Leclerc is actually going to act as, you know, a DRS train for us. So, very, very nice. More cars pitting, getting out of the way. Show actually beat Sainz out there just barely, but I think Sainz is going to be running aggressive enough that he's just going to fly by here immediately, and he is. But again, getting that extra DRS pull, being able to save tires while kind of running behind others, it's going to benefit us. So it's not something that is inherently negative here. Now, Paris, are you going to beat Bottas out? Yeah, clearly so. So it looks more and more likely here that we're going to have a very, very strong showing with everyone ahead of us needing to pit. I got scared there. There was a yellow flag for a second. Paris fell down one position. But as you can see here, Show has a few cars needing to catch up to. But the rest of us is actually looking good. How did Ocon pull this off, though? Ocon has pitted and is out ahead of us. I guess he pitted even earlier than we did. That's amazing. But yeah, for now here, we're kind of running these tires kind of on the edge. I think it's fine. So we'll allow time to pass, and unless we have any more dramatic instances, we're just going to be looking forward to the next pit stop. Verstappen has pitted. He's on a soft tire. We'll have to see if he can make up the gaps that has been created. We are getting increasingly closer here to our final pit stop. We're currently pushing these mediums to, well, everything they're worth. And as you can see here, we have second and third. Leclerc is down there in 7th, but he is going to come out most likely ahead of us. However, all of these guys are on hard tires. Verstappen is done with his final pit stop too. But even then, he is probably a little bit too far behind here, where he's not going to be able to, you know, have any impact. Which is, of course, as I mentioned, unfortunate. But there's nothing you really can do about it at this stage. And we are starting to have a little bit of minor engine damage. And we're going to be getting that most likely for Show too. Maybe before the end of this race. Now, what I'm thinking we're going to do here is just going to pit. And we are going to be kind of running the soft tires light for a little bit. I think that's going to be fine. because the goal here is just going to be to kind of save them a little bit and then go for fastest lap. I'd like to get that. And we'll do the same here for Show. He'll be pitting at the end of this lap. Perez does come out behind Leclerc, but again, the tire difference here is most likely going to lead to our, beating him. We have 15 points to go on, so at the moment, we are champions beyond all doubt. There's just no way around it. And I'm thinking here for Paris, we're going to do a quick lap, try and get the fastest lap of the race. So we're going to heat up the tires a little bit. And I think that should be okay. The gaps are doable with making it happen. And honestly, we might do the same for Show, but I think we'll have him run a lap on standard just to kind of heat everything up. But for Paris here, we're going to go full on aggressive. Going to use a little bit more tire than we maybe need to. But enough tire here that we are going to get fastest lap. And maybe even a little bit of DRS help on that second zone from Leclerc. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get past him, though. Not enough, so that's probably going to mess up the fastest lap attempt a little bit as well. For Show, he's going to try it this lap. Push and deploy. He's going to get a little bit of help from Magnussen, most likely. But yeah, Perez did get fastest lap. We're going to conserve, we're going to go neutral, and we're just going to sit behind Leclerc a little bit here. Cool these tires back down. And Show here should have DRS, and he does. And is it enough to get past Magnussen? Not really, but he should be close enough now that he just flies by. And that is in fact the case. And with 2 green sectors, and maybe the fastest here right now. Nope. Couldn't get it. It's still good though. Oh, he did get it. My bad. But yeah, we'll just kind of recharge a little bit, then we'll try and get past. I think we can get second place here. But Bottas might be a little bit too far ahead. But 10 laps on those hards, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for him. So, looks like a win is still, potentially, on the cards. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, I do also think that we can just turn him up to standard now. Just push a little bit more. And that should be okay. And we'll do the same here for Show. Give him a little bit more of a chance to chase down some points. But as you can imagine here, Perez should have now, if we do a little bit of deployment. And also, again, don't really want to take the risk. Because if we do crash, it could become extremely detrimental. Extremely quick. As I say that, Bottas has had an incident.
So this is what happened.
That definitely means he's going to have to pit.
The action now at turn 7. And the rear just lets go. And that won't do anything to help those tires.
Yeah, he really shouldn't stop there. He should just kept going because he was back on track and ready to go. That's very disappointing. He should be first right now. But yeah, those tires down to 36. If he keeps on running, he's going to puncture. There's just no way around it. Show here should be catching up to Leclerc. Give him a little bit of deploy to help. But yeah, once we turn these tires up to attack for the last few laps, we are going to be flying past basically everyone. I don't see any other way around it. Paris there gets the overtake. It's going to fly past Sainz. Show here should have no problem flying past Ocon once we give him a little bit extra, oomph. Might as well just give him a little bit extra oomph now, aggressive, to allow him to create bigger gaps to the Red Bull behind. And while Verstappen has made his way back up into the points, which is 6 laps to go here, it's going to be a miracle required. Basically a double DNF from us for there to be any chance. Any chance at an upset. So, a little bit unfortunate, but I don't see I don't see something like that really happening. But I'm not going to completely discount it, so we'll have to see here. Show has got himself up to the podium place. Paris has got himself up into first. But we'll have to see if he, can stay there. Or if he's going to end up in trouble. We are going to run full attack here now. Push a little bit. Paris needs to get away from Sainz so that Show can actually have a chance to attack. And Bottas did end up pitting down to 12th. So I think it should get Tsunoda as well. But at the same time, it's been a bit of a disappointing finish, I dare say, to what could have been an incredibly entertaining race. But yeah, Show up into second now. This is basically what Red Bull would have had to do to keep things interesting. But yeah, we are actually burning these tires down a little bit faster than I like, so let's turn them down to aggressive at least. It would be hilariously bad if I managed to lose this by puncturing within the last few laps here. 3 laps to go. Let's just tune them down to standard. That should be fine as long as we can maintain the gap to Sainz. We'll be happy. But yeah, a tad lackluster compared to how it was looking after Las Vegas. Again, don't know why we completely suck there. Final lap, fuel looks good, everything looks good. We're just going to try and coast now to the finish line. Perez going to get another win. And with that, we're going to be crowning our Alpha Tauri season with a 1-2. Can be very happy with that.
So happy.
Leclerc 5th, Verstappen is most likely going to end up in 10th. So, very, very disappointing that he had that incident. But honestly, even if he won here, we'd still be safe. Leclerc needed to put in a little bit more effort here. And actually get second place if they wanted to have any chance at making that happen. But yeah, I probably should have watched that final cutscene, to be fair. Clicked a little bit too quickly there. But yeah, Perez wins, show second. We have Sainz, Ocon, Leclerc, Russell, Alonso, Magnussen, Bottas. Bottas actually made it up past Verstappen again, so that is quite amazing. Driver Championship then. Over 100 points down to Verstappen. Perez did work this season, let's put it like that. And also, the 52 points that Rick scored here did actually have an effect. Let's be honest. If we didn't have those, we'd not win the championship, honestly. We'd actually lose it by 4 points. But yeah, we did end up here with a pretty dominating result by the end. The fact that Red Bull is this close with 8 less wins is kind of madness. But yeah, we'll take that. But yeah, been a good season. Now, what I think we're going to finish off this season with is that I'm just going to get quickly everything related to research, everything related to re-signing contracts done. And then we'll take a look at the end of season accolades. And then we'll jump over to what is going to be Haas with their singular point next season. So looking forward to that. We're surprised that McLaren has done this much work on their own, honestly. And, well, Aston Martin is falling down the order a little bit, but that is kind of what you expect. Farming research complete. Again, I'm just going to get all of these researches kind of underway. And hopefully, we'll have a little bit of competition next year from these guys. That's honestly the best I think we can hope for. Yeah. Gonna get all these researches done. We'll take a look at how this car might be looking next year. We'll get the Hauger contract re-signed. We'll get these 2 contracts re-signed. And then we will have a look at the end of the year accolades before we finish this episode. But we did, in fact, manage to win both championships with Alpha Tauri. I was doubtful halfway through the season. Let's be honest, it was not looking good. But we did do a fairly good job, I dare say. So, get everything set up. And then we will, as I said, have a look at how we did. Here we are. End of season results. We ended up 7th in the faster pit stop. 4 million. Well, low and high confidence. Some research got completed. Show, 6th place, 185 points. Paris wins. We won the constructors. The team rating went up massively, so that's going to help them next year. And I think we can be very, very happy with how we did here. The team principal rating is 885, which should allow us to do most teams. But yeah, regulation changes. We are getting less money. Everything got hit pretty hard. And well, the research here is complete. We're on the 31st of December. And honestly, every contract has been re-signed. But I was having a little bit of fun here by having a look at some of the talents. And there is a very interesting 20-year-old here, Sergio Valdez, who we actually have scouted before. But this guy's kind of interesting. He's already fairly good. And he's lacking overtaking. But honestly, smoothness, reactions, cornering, dude can become very good. There's also another interesting talent here in... let's see if we can find her. Well, Isabel Oliveira, who has braking and reactions, lacking a little bit of cornering, but could also become a very good talent. So it might be a side project that we kind of work with as a reserve driver. It is, again, fun to do so. But honestly, we'll have to see what we do. Next year is going to be Haas. Hope you have enjoyed this season. Although, as I said, the drama, everything was set up for great drama for that final race. We were kind of lucky with that. But then the drama just left with Verstappen very, very early, running a little bit wide and not making his way back onto the track, which is unfortunate. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this season. We'll be back sometime next time with Haas. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Helps me out a ton. And I hope to see you around next time. Bye bye.